Alright everybody, so that was a really fun podcast with Dostcast, Vinamre behind the camera. And if you want to watch more such podcasts and have amazing conversations, go ahead and subscribe to Dostcast.
Also, I just want to say one more thing. मैं ना photos में usually ऐसे खड़ा होता हूँ, ये ऐसे खड़ा होता हूँ, लेकिन तारा ने आज से कहा कि अगर तुम्हें डॉन बड़ी खड़ा होना है ना, तो पैरों को खोलो और ऐसे थोड़े होके.
थोड़ा सा loose arms, थोड़ा सा sideways रखो, and that's how you pose for photos.
Director out.
My whole thing was I was in Gurgaon and then I went to Nirvana sector.
I used to live in Nirvana earlier.
Acha. So we were I was there at a friend's place and saw the kids trick-or-treating. And then I went to Dostcast and Clay before that. And that's also where I saw kids trick-or-treating. तो मेरे को realize हुआ कि ये Halloween, हम Halloween party मनाते हैं.
हम लोग
party पे जाते हैं. नहीं करते.
Conventionally, yes.
So that is when I was like, dude, this is where the money is really at. Because they're doing trick-or-treating.
Where the kids know what trick-or-treating is.
Exactly.
And people are also treating.
Yeah, so वो वाली चीज़ हुई थी. And I mean, I saw like the kids being paraded around by their mothers. घर पे जा रहे हैं. And I could only think about kanchaks as a kid. I was like, bro, ये तो बहुत ना advanced scene हो गया है. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that happened in my society also, by the way.
Trick-or-treating?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, kids came to my house and I had no treats. So I had to find everything that I bought from duty free and then just give it away to them.
That sucks. Yeah, I feel that, bro. Kids are weird. Kids want different kind of things. Honestly, I hate giving kids candy. Just say when my cousins come to my place where I live and my mom is like, Jim Jam, bourbon, 5-star. I'm like, yaar, this is the shit that ruins kids. But you can't say anything. Anyway, what we can talk about, except from these kids and all of that, is, dude, you've been traveling for as long as the new internet has existed.
Yeah.
And you travel in the lockdown. मतलब लोग देश के जाने वाले travel vloggers में से एक जो नाम आता है.
Oh, wow.
एकदम में transition करके. Hey guys, एक और content creator आज से बात करने वाले हैं travel के बारे में.
और अब हम लोग न्यूज़ के पत्रकार की तरह बात करेंगे.
नहीं, for real. अच्छा, just the first video that got me off by surprise because I was rewatching your videos.
Yeah.
Is you are in Namibia.
Yes.
With the Hilda tribe or the Hilsa tribe?
Hilux. Toyota Hilux, yeah.
Hilux tribe?
Yeah.
No, the tribe that you visited.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the car. Oh, sorry.
No.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it's the Himba tribe.
Himba tribe.
Yes.
What a strange off-beaten path to take.
Yes.
As a मतलब लोग बोलते हैं, hey guys, check out awesome Bangkok, Thailand.
Yeah.
Even Australia, America, Greece के जो वो कटे हुए वो white color के वो terrorists होते हैं, you know, like
Pumukale, I think that's
is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Pumukale? Yeah, but so I don't see many people traveling to Africa. Those who do are usually expats.
Yes.
You know, so you took that decision. What made you go to Namibia of all places?
So I don't know. And can I tell you something really surprising? Before going to Namibia, I had not even visited Thailand or Vietnam.
What?
Or all these conventional backpacking destinations.
So you didn't follow the Indian funnel to abroad?
I did not, because I was just honestly, so I have always been really fascinated by Africa as a continent. I think it's the most exceptional place to travel to. I mean, all places, all destinations that I've been to aside, that and I would say now South America is on my list. So these are two destinations that I find very fascinating. I think everything about it, because that is where life originated from, Africa particularly. And I think to a great extent, you can see that when you visit. That yes, this is the origin of life. And the landscape over there is just so stunning. When I was in Namibia, and I was looking through pictures of Namibia. So I saw that for miles, for kilometers and kilometers, there's nothing. The land is fully empty and you see so many colors like red, yellow, green in the mountains. And it's fully empty. And I realized that even when I was driving there, it's fully empty. There's nobody. I think I may be wrong because I'm forgetting my facts. This was fresh on my mind when I visited. But I think it's the second least densely populated country.
Yeah. What about so when people go to Africa, they often think about South Africa and Cape Town as the safest place to travel, right? The most they do is like Kenya. And I know I watched this show on Netflix called Inside the World's Toughest Prisons by this guy, Ralph Rowe. And wo South African prisons mein jata hai, and they have this thing called a numbers gang, 26, 27, 28. People actually get membership in the gang to just be in the prison and like make money. But you're saying that Namibia is actually like way safer than South Africa.
It's safer than South Africa. So if you compare the stats, if you visit Namibia, it's one of the safest countries to visit in Africa. So that is what also made me realize that maybe, yes, this can be a destination I can cover. Plus everything that I read and heard about it. And I was just genuinely really interested in doing an off-roading trip there. I mean...
Did you do overlanding?
Overlanding, yes.
Yeah.
Technically not entirely overlanding because I also ended up staying in some guest houses just to break it up because it was a 14-day long trip and I wasn't really prepared to be doing an overlanding trip for all of these days. And it's genuinely tough when you're in the dust and it's so rugged and you're opening up a tent every night and sleeping in a tent. I realized that this is beyond my physical capabilities to do it as a overlanding trip for all 14 days.
Dust pareshan karne lag jati hai? Are you getting bitten by mosquitoes? Like what is happening?
No mosquitoes, but it's very cold in the night.
Namibia is cold.
Yes.
Okay, right. It's a desert. We forget that. हमें लगता है कि अफ्रीका मतलब लोग semi-naked भाग ही रहे हैं बाहर लेके. It's like a bad stereotype, but
yeah. So the first night I spent in a tent. It was extremely cold. It took me by real surprise that it's so cold and I'm in a place where I don't know anybody. I don't even know the language. So unless you're in a place so first night where I spent in a tent, it was at a campsite. So it has a reception connected to it, but the reception is a little far away. So I would say at least like 300 meters away from my campsite, which at night seems a very long distance. So you park your car at the campsite. There's a tap nearby for running water. Then there are these compartment toilets nearby where you can go to. And for dinner also, you can go to the reception area if you are not cooking yourself. And the first night I wasn't cooking. But just the whole... It just felt really bizarre to be here in this country.
How do you get the flights? Like, how do you fly from Delhi to Namibia?
So I took Ethiopian Airlines.
Yeah, I love Ethiopia.
I had a layover in Ethiopia, and that's how I got there finally.
Okay.
Yes.
And just out of sheer curiosity, so you landed in Namibia at this point. I mean, because video के अंदर कोई ना कोई guide था.
Yeah.
जो बता रहा था कि तान्या अब ये है फलाना ढिमकाना. He was telling you all the things. And then I'm just wondering, did you go alone?
I went alone from India. I did not have any friends over there. I just had some local contacts. So there's a company called Explore Wild Planets, and they were basically helping me with the entire trip, like right from the where will I stay on the first night to how will I get my car rental, everything fixed. So they were helping me with it. So it wasn't like I did not know anybody. But I wasn't surrounded by friends or backpackers per se, because when you're traveling to other countries, especially in Southeast Asia, it's very easy to make friends there.
Yeah, everyone's a backpacker.
Everyone's
trying
a backpacker.
To find the meaning of life.
Exactly. So if you're staying at hostels, you find people really easily. And I think I really enjoy traveling this way. And I would say if given an opportunity, I would still go to a place in Africa than Europe.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, usually people typically take my friends are now trying to go to Thailand, and I said no because I have some work, and they're going to listen to this and they're going to hate me, but I think I want to go solo.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because दोस्त वाली trip होती रहती है, and they're really going to push me for this. But I found that the few times I've traveled solo, I was a student in the US, Boston में था मैं, and I saved some money over time, and then I got like a package deal to go to San Francisco, and I spent a week there.
All right.
That week was very weird. I mean, I was getting high all the time because, great weed in San Francisco. And, but, जब मैं अकेला था ना, तो I had these very uncomfortable moments where I could go in and out of meeting people and doing things as a traveler. Some days I stayed in a hostel, then I stayed in an Airbnb. But
yeah,
it's one of my most memorable trips because I could really chase a whim. अगर मेरा पूरे दिन आज मन कर रहा है ना कि मैं बस यहाँ canyon में बैठूँ, I could do that.
Yeah.
There was no agenda. You've been doing solo travel for as long as you've been making content or even before.
Yes.
It's like, do you find yourself choosing that over other forms of travel? And what do you think? What happens to you when you do that?
So I think what I really enjoy about solo traveling is that it's challenging. It's not easy just landing in a new place without knowing anyone and not having your best friends or a group of friends to have fun with. So you're not conventionally doing this for fun. You're doing this to challenge yourself in some way, and in a good way, where you're getting outside of your comfort zone, where you're making decisions every day of how you want to spend your day, of sometimes being alone, sometimes being in the company of other people. And like you mentioned, going in and out of conversations, in and out of meeting people, promising them to meet them somewhere, maybe going there, maybe not going there.
Like having a very light touch, non-committal type ka.
Yes. I would say yes. Being non-committal with people for a change, not having any obligations towards anybody else. You're there for yourself. Right. You're not there because you want others to have a good time with you. And you don't have to show up to be a certain way, you know?
Yeah. Cox and Kings, Thomas Cook. Cries in Cox and Kings and Thomas Cook. Because, you know, like 7 days, 8 nights ka package hai. और आप हर रोज एक नई country देख रहे हो. Wake up and like do a routine. But then do you have a routine when you're traveling? Like do you think about कि इस टाइम उठना ये देख. Are you like one of those people who like सब कुछ दिखाना है मेरे को?
नहीं, I don't think so. I am not the kind of person who wants to see everything. In fact, I just want to see enough that makes me feel like I've connected with the place in some way. So even if I do one activity that makes me feel really connected with the place, I think I'm happy. So I do have a routine sort of. I try to wake up early because I want to catch, you know, most of the daylight hours. And I think that also comes with the idea of filming things because you want to catch most of the daylight hours.
Right.
And mostly by, I think, the time when the sun sets, I'm done with the day. I may go out in the evening. I may just sleep in. I'm not a very big party person.
Right.
So I may just sleep in and wake up early the next day again.
I'm so glad that you're here because I wanted to ask you this question.
Yes.
जैसे when people go to a nice place and they're already a creator and they're not a travel creator like you but they're a creator. भाई आपने vlogs नहीं बनाए, हमें भी तो दिखाओ न्यूजीलैंड. You know, तो वो like instinct आता है ना. I always dismiss that instinct and I'm not a travel creator. Why? Because I'm like यार मैं यहाँ पे मजे करना है and I want to experience this. Now, does this happen to you where you're like, oof, I have to film. I wish I could just enjoy it.
I think I'm going to be honest. There are obviously going to be some moments where you're like, listen, I don't want to film this. But my easy approach to that is then don't. If on any given day you feel like I don't want to film this, then don't. Don't do it just for the sake of creating content. Yeah. Especially with YouTube videos because then it shows. It shows in your mood. It shows in the way you're talking to the camera. Why do you want to make a shitty video? You just enjoy the travel aspect of it on days when you want to and film when you want to. And see, there's another thing that I want to add to this. It also can't be all on your whim that, yes, I want to film this day and I don't want to film this day. There has to be a line between also understanding that if you're doing this for work, at least allocate some amount of time to filming and allocate some amount of time to enjoyment. So I think over a period of time, I've kind of realized when do I want to draw that line. And sometimes I film because I'm genuinely just enjoying filming. You know, I love the art of filming videos. And that's why I got into it.
You're a filmmaker first, by the way, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I think I started off with YouTube and I really enjoy making YouTube videos. And that's why sometimes I'm very picky about my videos. The audio of it, the music, the edit, the kind of videos I want to make. And I think my audience would always complain to some extent that why don't you publish your videos on time? Or why is this not up yet? Oh, we want to see your video from so-and-so destination. When is it coming?
But you are pretty consistent, nahi Tanya? Almost har mahine ek video aati hai YouTube pe.
Yeah, if you call that consistency, then sure.
Nahi, but some people are like, kuch log aise hi upload karte hain. Some people are like a month, you know, upload a video a month. But you're super engaging on Instagram.
Thanks.
Like, I think you're doing more content on Instagram than YouTube.
I think because it's just easier. I feel like especially because I've been making YouTube videos for so long that making short form content is very easy for me, to be honest. It's not as difficult as making a long form video. In fact, I think I put much less pressure on myself when it comes to short form content than with long form content because I've been doing YouTube for longer than I've been doing Instagram. Right. So with YouTube, I'm just a little more, I think I have certain set standards which I have only set for myself, which are sometimes so unrealistic for even myself that now with Instagram, I just take it easy. And
you're also on Facebook, which I think is a surprise for most people, right? Because you also have like a stack of followers on Facebook. I was checking. I was like, ye kya? Yahan kaun audience bana raha hai?
That's also another one of my problems. I think I feel like I want to capitalize on every platform if possible because...
You're on Snapchat? Are you on Snapchat?
No, that is one platform that I've completely left behind.
Okay. They're doing some creative monetization stuff. We tried. We got the threshold, but it's whack. Then we decided not again.
No? Okay.
और जो हम डाल रहे थे shorts वो उस पे भी जा रहे थे million views आ रही थी but they just have a very weird way of monetizing it. It's just like it's no point just putting it here for no reason at all.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, but I think Facebook is just one of those things that it's a very different kind of audience. And I think...
Who watches it? Like, are they older people who watch it?
Yes, I think much older people. So I would say maybe over 35.
Okay.
Yes. So not your ideal kind of TG. But why not? I mean, if you're making content anyway, you might as well just be present where you can, where it's easy. Because what I just do is I upload my YouTube videos to Facebook and sometimes snippets of it to Facebook. So it's not like a lot of work, a lot of added extra work.
What's the, like, kal raat ko, I don't know if you heard the earthquake. Were you up for that?
No, I wasn't up for that, but I heard all about it once I woke up.
क्योंकि मैं Instagram में सबके notes देखे थे, earthquake आया, लोगों ने पुराने content pieces डालने शुरू कर दिए when they made an earthquake video. But just like, you know, earthquake एक example है जहाँ पे you think, oh, दिल्ली में क्या होगा, ज़्यादा पोल्यूशन से ही मरेंगे या कोई मर्डर करेगा, you know,
मुझे तो लगता है यही होगा, बस पोल्यूशन से ही मरेंगे हम सब.
ठीक है, प्रेडिक्टेबल प्रॉब्लम है ना, कि यही हो सकता है कि वो कोई या तो खून कर सकता है या पोल्यूशन से मरना है. The earthquake every now and then shakes people up, like यार ये क्या हो रहा है, because when, you know, कल ऐसा हुआ, I just taken a shower and I was in my towel, I was like, fuck यार चोर आ गया, पूरी जिंदगी प्रिपेयर करता, टावल में जाऊंगा लड़ने के लिए. That was my first instinct and I was like, shit, I should.
That is what you were thinking in your shower.
नहीं, I was thinking कि यार घर हिल रहा है कहीं ना किसी ने ना ड्रिल लेके ना, my mind works in strange ways. My parents are not at home, so वो ना ड्रिल लेके ना किसी ने ना वो खोल लिया है और अब वो अंदर आ गया होगा और वो अब तहकीकात कर रहा है घर की. मेरे पास तो कोई वेपन भी नहीं है. I was just like thinking like that. Then like a fool I was like, is there an earthquake in Delhi right now? ऐसे करते ही ना, because you don't know.
Yeah.
And then it says एक red color का वो आता है, like a meteorological map.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, right? But that's like an unpredictable thing. ऐसे when you're out there, चाहे domestically India में हो गया, चाहे दुनिया के अंदर हो गया, what's like maybe a natural disaster or some completely bad shit crazy चीज़ जो हो गई हो travel करते हुए, ये क्या हो गया? You never thought about it and it happened.
यार अभी तक तो मेरे साथ नहीं हुई है, बट आई ऑनेस्टली हैव हैड दोज थॉट्स कि earthquake अभी आ गया तो क्या होगा, स्पेशली व्हेन आई एम लाइक शावरिंग, एंड दैट हैपेंड टू मी वंस इन नमीबिया बिकॉज आई वाज in this common space, not a common space, I was in a campsite on another given day, and उसका जो shower था वो open shower था, मतलब उसका दरवाजा में भी दरवाजा नहीं था और उसके ऊपर छत में भी छत में नहीं थी, तो it was like a cubicle.
Side में compartment बना रखे होंगे ना बस.
It was like a cubicle that was going, how do I explain this, like a square which is going inwards like a maze.
समझ गए.
So the inner space is still concealed from the outside, but it's still open. Like anybody can walk in. The top is open, so you can see the stars when you're showering at night.
Wow.
So although it was a beautiful experience, but I was thinking, अभी कोई आ गया तो क्या होगा? अभी अगर earthquake हो गया तो क्या होगा? अभी अगर कुछ flooding हो गई या फिर something happens, what will happen? So that was definitely a thought. But I think ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बुरा क्या हुआ है? I think I was in Arunachal once and all the towers were shut because of some protest. That's the worst that has happened so far. But thoughts तो आते ही हैं कि अभी ये हो गया तो क्या होगा?
Yeah, like जैसे when I went to Europe as a kid, I mean I went recently to the UK, but you know वो जो Cox and Kings type के tour होता है, they're like be very wary.
I feel like you've had a lot of those because you keep referencing those every now and then. But
this is the bulk of my experiences as a kid.
Yeah.
Through travel groups and because you go with your parents, so but once I came of age I was like मेरे को ये करना है. Then I switched from Cox and Kings to Thrillist or Lonely Planet, which is like slightly better. Now it's like you follow interesting people on Instagram, not exactly travel influencers,
right?
But अगर कोई alcohol industry के अंदर है तो like they'll give you like the best bars in London, like I approach it like that. But anyway, तो मुझे what the fuck what were you talking about?
Disasters, natural disasters.
Right, disasters, हाँ. So, I mean, that's what I'm thinking कि ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ that you felt like, हाँ, what I was saying is, Cox and Kings ने हमें announcement, थॉमस कुक ने हमें बोला था कि हम यहाँ पे इटली में आ गए हैं, यहाँ जिप्सीज चोरी कर सकते हैं, ध्यान रखना. और फिर किसी का बहुत कोई बड़ा फोटोग्राफर था हमारे साथ, उसका पूरा कैमरा बैग वगैरह सब कुछ चोरी हो गया, right? So that memory was etched in my head as like this happens. So, like, have you seen pickpocketing, robbery, all of that on your travels or no?
No. On the streets of New York, maybe from my hotel room, I've seen people, you know, having altercations on the roads. But that's the biggest extent of it, honestly.
What do you say in New York? Midtown, downtown, uptown?
So I was staying this time in Columbus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Columbus Circle,
yes. So you've been to New York a lot, I'm guessing. Okay.
My friend used to go to college there, तो मैं फिर वहाँ से वहाँ Boston से उधर जाता था बस में बैठ के, हाँ.
All right.
Yeah. Did you go to the buses in the US?
The buses, yes. I've taken one from San Francisco to LA.
Okay. What was that like?
It was fun.
Okay.
Okay, also I'll tell you one thing. So my fear threshold is actually very high. So even if I'm doing crazy shit, I don't know, somehow I don't feel as scared of it. I take it at face value ki, okay, let's see how this goes. And I think that instinct kind of helps me with travel. And I think I have that instinct because I've been doing this for a while. Initially, everything used to be really scary. But over a period of time, I think my fear threshold has sort of increased. And I just hope, and knock on wood, that someday this does not...
Thank God this is made of wood.
Yeah. So let's hope that instinct does not, shock me.
लेकिन जब पहले ट्रैवलिंग करनी शुरू करी थी तो उस टाइम पे what would be your like I mean maybe I'm just like diving too deep into it, I don't know, but like what were you hoping to achieve कि क्या हो जाएगा कि मैं भाई वीडियो बना दूंगी डाल दूंगी, like what were you trying to do with this?
I think I always enjoyed challenges, and initially when I started off with YouTube, I just loved the challenge of video making. And when I say I love challenges, it was to the point that I'm traveling and I'm alone on a street, and I just really love the challenge of, feeling the fear, but still being okay with it. It's hard to explain, but I think this is the best example that I can think of at the moment.
समझ रहा हूँ. It's like you're on a roller coaster.
Yes.
And you feel it in your stomach. You're like,
yeah.
But you also enjoy it.
But you also enjoy it. And you enjoy it because you want to overcome that feeling to some extent. To answer your question about what I was hoping to achieve, obviously I knew that I could build a career out of it. And I really enjoyed traveling. So somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew that this is my goal, that I want to be a video creator. But also it was more interesting because it was a challenge of learning how to make videos, of traveling alongside and doing this by myself, at least initially when I did not have a team for the longest time till 2019. I started in 2017. So for 2 years, it was a solo show entirely without any team, without anybody helping me with any aspect of it. So I really enjoyed that challenge. And I thought just being able to to choose this field for myself, making this decision that, yes, this is what I want to do and I want to do this well. It just felt like a really good challenge.
So, अगर सारी videos तान्या तू edit कर रही थी और तू बना रही थी तो टीम क्या करती है फिर?
अभी कर रही है. So now I have 2 editors who are helping me with YouTube videos.
Okay.
One person who's helping me with shorts and reels and short form content. But अभी भी बहुत सारा मतलब I think
you're a filmmaker, no? So you can't. Fully.
It's taken some part of me to let go of that control, and I think I'm learning that. I also read a lot of hear from people and read books about management where the most important point is that you have to be able to trust people,
right? And
you have to be able to let go of that control. So
even if it's not 100, it's an 80.
It's an 80, yeah. But at least to be able to scale or grow in any field, you have to learn how to be a good manager.
Wow, Forbes के तो 30 में क्यों नहीं आई फिर? Because you're saying all the right things.
Yeah, but I think I did not say it before turning. I'm going to turn 30 next year, by the way.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
So you still have like a year.
I still have a year to go.
To make it happen.
Yes.
Just do a bunch of TED Talks and hire like
Isn't it? Or be on more podcasts like.
For sure, be on more podcasts. Why? Because एक तो ये होता है ना कि देख यार most people are just like dormant in one place. एक जगह पे रहते हैं. You're well traveled. Even though you're a travel creator, I could just get someone like a journalist who covers different countries.
Yes.
They just have stories to tell,
Yes.
So people want to hear that. People want to hear stories because you know your audience so well. The fact कि बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो travel नहीं कर पाएंगे. But I'm sure they get like a vicarious joy seeing you go to different places.
Yeah, essentially I have assumed that my YouTube videos do that, but I know some aspects of it cannot be covered on YouTube because video making is in itself a very complex task. And I enjoy talking. I think that's one thing that I've realized, that I enjoy talking. And I think that is something that I can do.
Yeah.
So podcast can be
like a new thing.
Another parallel.
There's always like you can have your coffee, by the way, I feel like.
I think I want to have some more coffee.
Yes, please.
So that's okay.
ये हम है ना बीच में रोक के कर सकते हैं कि ऐसे कॉफी डालना वगैरह कि ये नहीं कि चलो यार बात शुरू हो गई है तो फिर अब कॉफी. हाँ.
Thank you. I was looking at my mug the entire time and thinking, thank you. I think you saw that.
I think I've eventually had to develop this third sense where I'm like, इसका पानी पीने का मन कर रहा है, इसका कॉफी पीने का मन कर रहा है, because I don't know, like I don't want to make it like, आपका इंटरव्यू हो रहा है टाइम्स ब्रंच मैगजीन के अंदर. So what is your inspiration like, Tanya?
Anyway. पत्रकार मोड को स्विच ऑफ करो.
तो अच्छा, but I'm wondering that जब हम ये ट्रैवल करते हैं रेगुलरली, जो और लोग देखते भी हैं हमारा कंटेंट, हमारा वैसे बात करो जैसे आपको हमारा जो बिजनेस है ना,
हमारा ही है, इट्स ऑल द सेम.
बेसिकली लोग देखते हैं. आई वाज सीइंग द लक्षा मालदीव्स वाला, यू पोस्टेड समथिंग कि यार आप इसके अंदर ना यू कैन एक्चुअली रियलिस्टिकली गो टू मालदीव्स in under 40,000 rupees.
Yes.
ठीक है. And then I started to see this pattern in some of your videos where कितने पैसे लगते हैं, कितने दिन का पैकेज होता है becomes important. And maybe that's like against like an aesthetic storytelling thing, but वहाँ पे maybe you figured out कि there's a practical use that people ask you those questions, so you started incorporating them.
Yeah. But see, there are so many things that I do know about budgets and money spent and even hacks of saving money. So like, I've been using credit cards for the longest time. Most people in India don't even know how can you save money on flights using credit cards.
How?
It's very simple. You can get flight tickets for 70% lesser.
What?
Yeah. So I use an HDFC credit card, for example.
Okay.
And I've been accumulating points. In fact, now though I've started even doing all expenses on credit cards so that I get good chunk of points added to my, points every month. So it has a rewards website. It's called Smart Buy. You just go on it and you purchase flights through there, and you can use 70% of the value of the ticket. You can pay the 70% of the value of the ticket in points. 70%.
So how much you have to travel to like accumulate, say, a domestic trip from Delhi to Mumbai?
So you don't have to accumulate these points from just flights. You can accumulate these points from regular spending. I pay my rent on my credit card, my house rent.
You must be a fantastic paymaster then, Tanya. सब क्योंकि लोग तो मुकर जाते हैं ना पैसे पे करने में क्रेडिट कार्ड के.
हाँ नहीं, मैं पे करती हूँ टाइमली because I want those points. So if I don't pay my credit card bills on time, I won't get those points. So I've been doing this for the longest time and people don't even know about it. So I have so many of these money hacks anyway. It only makes sense that I share them, especially when it comes to short form content. I can easily share it in a new, nice, consumable manner.
Right. You've changed my life.
Really? You did not know this? See, I was right. Most people don't know of this.
मैं जाके मैं बोलता हूँ, this is how I typically book. I go to the official website of the, I was like Google Flights से नहीं करना मेरे को ये make my trip वगैरह है, मतलब I don't want to do it through third parties. I go to the website, then I go like, oh अच्छा मेरे को वो भी चाहिए, I want my preferred seat, then I'll say the front. Economy के अंदर सबसे आगे बैठूंगा aisle पे, ठीक है? And then like what I end up paying is 4 or 5K or 2-3K more than what is first advertised as the base price, right? But what you're saying, I can go for free.
Not for free technically, because now they only allow 70% of your points to be used.
But फिर भी यार.
But फिर भी it's a big saving because say for example you're traveling from Delhi to London.
Right.
Okay.
Expensive flight.
Expensive flight. 30,000 की flight है. And if you can, so the credit card that I use, उसका 1 point is equal to 1 rupee. So 30,000 का 70% कितना
होगा? You use Regalia?
21,000.
What do you use?
I use Diners Club now.
Okay.
But Regalia also has the same benefit.
Okay.
So you can use even Regalia points. 70% you can use on your flights.
I went to my bank and उन्होंने कहा Regalia चाहिए, मैंने कहा नहीं क्रेडिट कार्ड्स अच्छे नहीं होते हैं, मेरे को नॉर्मल घटिया वाले देते, कंपनी के लिए चाहिए सिर्फ. Shit यार. What the hell? So that's why you're friends with Neha. Like you really liked her content because she does finance, no?
Yes. And we've been thinking for the longest time that we should make joint reels of finance and travel. So maybe we should really get to it.
Wow, I've just been living so stupidly. So do you use cash at all? Like are you a cash person?
I'm not a cash person at all. I only pay on my credit card now. In fact, imagine rent also I'm paying on, instead of making a NEFT transaction, I'm paying it on my credit card.
That's crazy. So just so you can accumulate points. But then how do you use those points? Ki ek to tickets ho gayi, what else? Hotels?
So hotels, I mean, not really, because I feel like flights सबसे ज़्यादा बड़ा expense होता है. And I have to use those points carefully because I get 5 points for every 150 rupees spent. So that means if I want to accumulate 5,000 rupees, I have to spend 1,50,000 rupees, which is a lot of money. So that is why I pay my rent from it, no? Because that's an expense anyway.
Right.
So to be able to accumulate those points. So I mostly end up using it for flights.
So you use like a big expense for...
Big chunk of my expenses just cut down because of points.
I'm going to follow you, and if I get ruined, then I will contact you. That मैंने तो तुम्हारी advice follow करी थी. Chit fund में पैसे लगा दिए.
Just pay your bills on time and you'll be good.
I always pay on time.
Yeah, that's great. So if you can pay your credit, and this is in fact an advisory for anybody who's listening. If you can just pay your bills on time, credit cards are great. But if you default, then obviously it becomes a problem because
your
then you...
CIBIL score must be 999.
Unfortunately, it's not because I have 4 credit cards, 5 credit cards. So
wow.
So that also affects your CIBIL score.
You use all of them actively?
Yeah, because each one has a different purpose. So one new credit card that I've got is like a Vistara credit card.
Okay.
So it gives you a free business class flight upon spending 1,50,000 rupees in the first 3 months. So if you're paying something from it, you get a free business class flight firstly. Upar se you can use those points for any Vistara flight. So all the points that you accumulate, it's a new credit card, so I've accumulated about 20,000 points so far. But those 20,000 points can be used for spending on 20,000 rupees worth of flights. So why not?
Oh, you're really smart, Tanya. You've got the best new luxurious airline already.
Yes.
This is the new Kingfisher of 2022.
Exactly,
basically.
and Vistara is expensive. So if you can just buy the tickets through points, and isme the points in whole can be used, not just part payment and
because
part
they want
points.
to make you like a long time customer.
Exactly,
right?
And they want you to spend on your credit card. So they will make sure that you get enough benefits out of it.
ऐसे यार प्लीज 3-4 और हैक बता देना ऐसे पैसे बचाने के एटलीस्ट ट्रैवल के अंदर ही आई फील लाइक माय लाइफ इज अ लाई आई जस्ट ऑल आई डू इज जस्ट पे
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that. So pay for your expenses.
Okay.
Your anyway expenses that you pay for, everyday expenses. So I put everything, even if I'm making a Swiggy order, I put it on my credit card. Everything, 100%.
Yeah. Debit card companies must hate you then, huh?
They do.
So what happens? So super curious. So you also do a bunch of brand integrations and stuff, and then so if you don't mind me asking, India में से पूछते हैं ना आप किस चीज़ से पैसे कमाते हो, which I think is a rude question to ask.
Yes.
So I'm not going to ask that unless you answer it yourself.
Very smart this is. You've just lawyered me into answering this question. कि नहीं बताओ, it's okay, but हाँ, if you want to, just in case.
Traveling में अच्छा पैसा मिलता है.
See, the thing is, everybody would assume that YouTube gives you the most revenue, but it's mostly only 10% of
barely monetized anyway.
So why? Like the frequency is not as much. So for daily vloggers, obviously it makes sense that they're making most of their money from YouTube videos. For me, it's like 10% of my earnings, and 90% is brand deals.
Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, but you put a lot of heart and effort into your brand deals. I was seeing the one on Google, and then the Google India one was really nice, and then I saw the one with जहाँ पे बड़ा अच्छा सा keyboard था, Instax था, yes. Yeah, but you really put your heart and soul into those. They look aesthetically nice.
Yeah.
They don't look half-assed.
Yeah, because I think if that's where 90% of my revenue is coming from, थोड़ी मेहनत तो करनी पड़ेगी ना. I can't just fake it till you make it types. Crazy.
So when it comes to say traveling long term, especially in a foreign country, I saw in one of your captions you said travel off season, right?
Yes.
And then what other things you use to make sure कि you not only do you travel पूरा घूमने उमने का मौका मिल रहा है, but then you end up saving money.
So like you brought up the Maldives under 40K. So if you're traveling for lesser duration, firstly, I think that is the first condition, because your expense will multiply the more you spend on your hotels. So every day, if you're paying, say, even 3,000. So if you're spending 3 nights there, it's 9,000. If you're spending the 4th night, it's 12,000. So your money is going to add up. So that rule applies for, and I'd written it in the conditions below, that applies for a shorter duration. So if you're traveling for a longer duration, the one thing that you can do is you can book places on a monthly situation, and this is something that I'm planning on doing come December, January next year onwards. So there are 3 ways. So one is that you can be an active part of these communities where you can exchange your homes. Homeexchange.com, for example. I haven't ever tried this, but I met a person in Australia who recently gave me this idea that she's been doing this for the longest time. So somebody comes and stays in her place in Australia, and she goes and stays elsewhere. And I think this works out really well because you're spending 0 amount of money on the place of stay. So now she was going on a vacation to Europe, and she was going to be in Greece for the longest time, for a month or so. And she was also getting the car that the family owns where she's going and staying. So that's such a big saving. So all the money that you save, you can spend on activities. So that is one way. And this is something that I haven't tried personally. But another thing that you can do is you can rent out places, sublease. So another thing that I was thinking of doing in New York come, I think, springtime, and I'm actively looking for places right now. So if you're staying for a longer duration and your tourist visa would permit this, so you can sublease an apartment, for example, from somebody who
I've done it myself, subletting.
Oh, you have subletting, yeah. So you can do that as a traveler also now. So you can just go to a destination, you can pick up those apartments that somebody else is subletting.
Yeah, it's usually on Facebook groups. You have to find Facebook groups.
Facebook groups, and I think I was looking in London. So there's this website called I forget.
Some website. We'll just say some website.
Yes, website. I think it's called small rent or something. Okay, fine. My memory is really bad, so don't quote me here. But there are websites also in specific locations which you can find, and of course Facebook groups through which you can find these places. So this is something you can do. And then one very good hack is Workaway, which everybody talks about.
Workaway kya hai?
Workaway is where you can sign up for doing small chores or jobs. Even jobs, if you're creative or if you're good at something, like an artist can go and spend time at a certain place for drawing murals.
Right. ये India में hostels में करते हैं ना artists in exchange of room and board.
In exchange of, yes, exactly. So you can do these things. And you don't even have to be a content creator for doing any of these things. So for me, I think I end up saving money because sometimes I actively partner with brands or... Like
hotel की आपके वो कर देंगे. बहुत सही है यार. अगर आपका stay free हो रहा है. अरे देखिए क्या शानदार होटल है. बहुत बढ़िया है. Yeah, fuck. मैंने सब leasing करी थी. It was super nice to just be... क्योंकि उससे पहले क्या होता था, before I had actually ended up paying 3 months ka rent or 2 months ka rent when I had come back to India. And that cost me a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Because even in Boston,
if you're staying in Boston, I think rents are very high, like $1,000 at least, I think.
My rent was $1,000. So, but I wasn't that smart back then. But the next time I came out, I was like, nahi. Although the guy set my house on fire.
Oh, really?
But it was an accident in the sense he was cigarette pee raha tha, and then he just dropped it down. Or wo, you know, like in you've seen this in the US, ki kuch, not in New York, but like in some places, there's these नीचे ना ऐसे घर के नीचे they don't always have a basement, but there's a board of the house और उसके नीचे थोड़ा there's a gap where you can kind of store tools under the house.
Yeah, I understood.
तो वहाँ पे उसकी सिगरेट जली गई थी. Then I came back home after a few months and like सीढ़ियाँ जली हुई है हमारी.
Oh
ये क्या हुआ था? But yeah, I'm not getting people off from subletting because my friend who lived in Germany for a while, he tried it and it was very fun. No, couch surfing is kind of dead right now, right?
Couch surfing is really terrible. I tried it in Hawaii, but मुझे कोई अच्छे hosts नहीं मिले.
कैसे क्या थे मतलब बदबू आई थी घर में?
No. I did not go eventually because I was looking for hosts because I realized that Hawaii was very expensive. Like every night over there costs upward in INR 15,000.
USA का लोनावला है वो.
हाँ, और 15,000 rupees per night for a very basic Airbnb with no AC. And imagine staying in a tropical place with no AC.
Wow.
And for that, you're paying $15,000, which for India is luxury.
So where do you end up staying then?
So I ended up paying for most part because I tried couch surfing and I could not find any good hosts. And all the hosts that I did find, they were really creepy people. And it was pretty clear from their profile that they're in it for, you know, they're only hosting female hosts, guests firstly.
Right. Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's written in their condition, and I was like, not doing that.
Whoa. So, which brings me to, just I was reading in this book, Vagabonding, the Long Term. I am not affiliate, just मैं पढ़ रहा था.
Yeah.
इसके अंदर एक बंदा कहता है, एक फाइनेंसर एक दूसरे बंदे के पास आता है, बोलता है कि यार तू ट्रैवल करता है? कहता हाँ. कहता बड़ा महंगा होता होगा. कहता नहीं यार, हर जगह ऐसे फैंसी होटल्स में रहना नहीं होता. Because the other guy assumes. And this is what you realize when you travel with families, right? Like the more the people, the less backpackerish you can be.
Yes.
Right? And what is more important for you? Like luxury or seeing as many places as possible? Like, you know?
I think now with my job, I have some access to luxury. So I'm not going to lie that I enjoy it whenever I get an opportunity for it. So if anytime a really nice hotel is sponsoring a stay or I'm creating content for somebody, so obviously it's really nice to have that experience.
Right.
But I think, in fact, what I really prefer as a traveler is something intermediate, something which is more of a local family experience. So a homestay or an Airbnb would be ideal. So not a luxury all the time and not backpacking either all the time.
Right.
So something intermediate where I get more of a local experience, where I can talk to people from that place or from that country and have a meaningful conversation with them about how they live. And my ideal kind of traveling is where I experience life as a local. So where I can where I know where to buy my coffee from in the morning, where I know where the grocery stores are. And I think that for me is an ideal.
Right, where you feel like you're a part of the world as opposed to कि
like I'm a traveler.
टूरिस्ट की लेंस से हर चीज़ देखनी पड़ेगी. आज हम आपको कराने वाले हैं एडवेंचर स्पोर्ट्स ऋषिकेश के अंदर, like that.
So I try that even if I'm spending 2 days at a certain place and if I'm not seeing everything, at least I get a local perspective in between somewhere. So staying with a local family. And I think one thing I really like about tourism and how it's coming up in India is that homestays have a very personal touch. And I've not seen this in a lot of other countries. So by that, what I mean is that the homestay owners, they stay nearby, or they're the ones who are cooking your meals. Whereas that's not the case in most other countries. Your Airbnbs, when you book them, they have that padlock and you just go access the place.
Self-check-in. Yeah.
So you are a local in the sense that you're staying in a house and you can buy your groceries and cook your own meals. But it doesn't have that personal local touch all the time.
So please go on.
But in India, that's changing in a good way where if you're getting hosted by somebody, it's actually the essence of being hosted by somebody who's local. And I've seen that a lot in Kerala, in Northeast, and I really enjoy that.
You must really love going to other people's drawing rooms as a kid, huh?
Yes, I did.
I'm just wondering, mujhe host karo.
Honestly, I'll tell you one more thing. As a kid, I grew up in the army background, and we used to have access to everybody's living rooms.
Right.
Because when you're living in a cantonment, it's very accessible. You know everybody. Everybody knows you. It's a very small community, and so if you're going to somebody else's house, they will invite you in for a glass of water or for a cup of tea. And as kids, we used to be so besharam, me and my sister. We used to go door to door to sell random stuff just to make a little money.
Carry let's go.
Yes, exactly. So we sold greeting cards. We've gone to the extent of trying to sell soap for Holi, like a day before Holi. Ki, buy our soap because it's going to get all your color off.
Or wo army ka thappa hai credibility, hum same hi log
No, so it's in the cantonment only that we're doing this. And my mom is so embarrassed because she's like, why are you going to the CO's house and doing this? Can you not?
नहीं मैं तभी तो कह रहा हूँ it's actually safer and better for you, because it's like in the same place. Everyone's an army person.
So in cantonments, everything is very safe. So even when I was a 6-year-old, I used to cycle to my school myself.
That's crazy.
Yes. So it was a very guarded life, of course, but it was also very nice because it was very community driven.
Right.
And that's why when you said you must really enjoy going to other people's living rooms, I was like, but I already did that as a kid. We used to go to family. We used to go to other people's house even in the middle of the night, and they would still make a meal, and that was the culture.
So you see the same thing playing out in your travels. Because बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं when they travel, they really just wanna disconnect and sit by themselves, right? And I don't think that you really want कि अगर if you're in like Ladakh, someone offers you paba and tongue tour and you have that. But उसके अंदर, so I mean it looks like a very versatile with your communication, but what happens when worlds clash? When there is, see, you have some beliefs and the other person has some beliefs, or this is where you play your politeness and you're like, I don't want to change their mind. I just want to see what they have to say.
So you've noticed this so far, at least. I hope that I'm a very polite person. I'm not somebody who will have an argument with anybody.
Right.
So I think this also comes from my upbringing that I don't unnecessarily want to engage in fights or altercations or try to prove my point. It's okay to have opinions, and everybody has different opinions. And in a world and in a country which is so large and wide, you cannot expect everybody to have same opinions, even if they offend you.
Right.
So it's okay to just listen to other people.
So I've just been to one or two homestays. एक तो ये ऊपर वाली belt है कसौल मनाना की as a teen I went there. Mm-hmm. And then I went to Pangong Lake के अंदर there's the Pangong itself, then there's 7-8 kilometers बाद टूटे रास्ते के बाद then you get the homestays.
मान village आती है.
मान, of course, you know your shit. So मान village के अंदर मैं गया था, वहाँ पे you said the personal touch, right? So
yes,
you were staying in the family's girls' rooms.
Yes.
And उनके ऐसा अच्छा लग रहा था मेरे को कि भारत के अंदर इतना सब कुछ हो गया. वो लड़कियाँ ले के अंदर कॉलेज जाती थी and उनके स्पोर्ट्स के मेडल लगे हुए थे नेशनल वाले, and हम वहाँ सो रहे थे और मेरे दोस्त कहते रम पीते हैं. मेरा रम पीने का भी मन नहीं कर रहा था. लग रहा था यार कितना बुरा आदमी हूँ मैं, यहाँ पे लोग कितनी मेहनत कर रहे हैं, है ना. It just felt bad, but it was an experience.
Yeah, that's what I really like about it. And when you said the worlds clash, I think this is also a clashing point. No, when you're going to some place which is so far removed from your own, and you're living the life of somebody else, where you're living in their room and you see their medals, and it gives you a sense of how they must have lived their life.
Right.
And it makes you for a moment disconnect with your own. And it makes you feel as if, yes, this is this is somebody's life that I'm getting a small insight into, and I'm a part of it today.
Yeah.
I think I really like that.
मेरे मन में तो मालगुडी डेज की ट्यून चलनी शुरू हो गई थी. ताना ना. You watched that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Fuck. But so, where else have you traveled in India where you've stayed in homestays? And
so most places that I visited in the Northeast, Arunachal, Meghalaya.
वहाँ पे तो they don't have such a good hotel system.
No, in fact they have hotels. They have really good hotels, but I think I would any day pick a homestay over a hotel in these areas, because the whole point of going there is understanding the culture, especially because I think Northeast is so underrepresented in India, especially in media, that it makes sense to just experience life as a local over there and see what you've been missing out on.
Yeah, didn't the minister from Nagaland retweet you? I saw that.
Oh my goodness, that came as a big surprise to me, because I published those videos long back without ever having the expectation that so many people will watch it and appreciate that those videos exist on the internet.
And what was the World Cup like? You recently went, huh?
Oh goodness, crazy.
I've never seen a cricket match live. That's why I was asked.
So I've also never seen a live T20. I've only seen live test matches.
How
How
boring.
Very boring. But I was in college and I had access to some free tickets. So I went to यहाँ का Firoz Shah Kotla and I watched some test matches. So that is the only experience I've had of live cricket. And from that, going to Melbourne and watching something live over there, I still find on some days that it's so bizarre that I get to do these things.
Yeah. Do you ever feel, I mean, you don't have to answer this if you don't want, but do you ever feel like weirdly existential in the middle of a travel? Like you're like thousands of miles or kilometers घर से दूर और लगता है कि यार ये, because it must happen, right? The whole point of traveling so far wide is that आपका environment भी unfamiliar है. There is nothing from your old life except for maybe like your camera or the clothes you wear or the books you have, whatever. It just puts people into reflection mode. Do you find yourself doing that?
Yes, on most of my travels. And I think that's what I enjoy the most about being in places like these and having these experiences. And I feel existential in the sense that, why me? How is it that I'm here? Why am I experiencing this? And I think I get those slight tinges of feelings sometimes. But then I put everything into perspective and I realize, but this is a great experience and I think I should just be grateful and cherish it.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I do feel a little existential.
How do you make friends?
How do I make friends?
Yeah.
So I would say that I'm a little bit of an ambivert. I like my own time and my own space. But when it comes to socializing, I don't think I'm terrible at it. I can have conversations and speak to people. So if I have to make friends or if I want to strike up conversations, I'm not fearful of doing so.
So the reason I ask you this is for contextualizing. मैं बहुत सारे लोगों को जानता हूँ जो बहुत बढ़िया जगह पे जाते हैं लेकिन वो कभी अपने फैमिली और फ्रेंड्स के आगे they never say hi to a local, right?
Yes.
And maybe it's part intimidation. Maybe अगर कोई यूरोपियन कंट्री की बात करें तो there is this sense of inferiority complex that sets in.
Yeah.
Imperial colonial mindset, whatever,
exactly.
right? Or just plain shyness कि अगर मैं hi बोलूँगा तो बात करनी पड़ जाएगी. What will I say? In my experience, I've had the most I've even met people who I just said hi to, became friends, still are friends. Hi, how's it going? My name is this.
Yes.
This hi ऐसा करना has changed my life more than anything else I've done socially. So you, in your videos also, you just sometimes get a local and से बात कर रही होती है. And like sometimes you get like temporary travels for कुछ देर के लिए बाद. How do you make that happen? Like, is that something you learned when you were in school? Like how, or did the road teach you that?
Okay, I think this also comes from probably my childhood where I was very shy of making conversations.
Okay.
But because I was forced to move schools periodically, every 2 years I was moving my school. So the best of friends that I made in one certain place, I had to bid goodbye to them, then go to a new place and then make friends all over again. And it all starts with a hi. And how you just explained beautifully that it's all about just introducing yourself. And I had to get into the habit of doing that again and again and again and every new place that I go to. It never felt, sorry for using the wrong word here, forced to move. It did not feel so forced when I was a kid because it just felt like a lifestyle. I did not question it ever when I was growing up. But I think now that I look back, I realize that really helped me in getting over this complex, this fear of being judged. Although I would say that even after moving so many places, I did have that fear for the longest time. But I think traveling changed that for me. And especially when I was in my 11th and 12th standard, I moved to civil. So from an army background where everybody is equally friendly and as eager to make friends, I moved to an environment where everybody's been studying together since the beginning. And I think that was a real challenge. And for the longest time, I was really taken aback by how how people can be so hostile. They just don't want to say hi back to you.
Yeah. Also, when you just live in the same place for so long, and it's such a natural instinct. हमारे स्कूल के अंदर, in CBSE के अंदर, 11वीं 12वीं के अंदर,
Yeah.
people who want to study in a better school
Yes.
for commerce or engineering or humanities, जब वो लोग आते हैं स्कूल के अंदर, so it takes so long to integrate.
Yes.
And there isn't time because 11वीं 12वीं है.
11वीं 12वीं है. You have to study also.
तो फिर वो it just never pops up that you it's rare that you just make like tight friends with them.
Yes.
But I completely get you're the kid who went to change schools in 11th 12th.
I know.
Wow. So all of this is happening. I remember reading this quote at some point that the problem with having lives in different places is that your sense of home, your heart is in too many places. What a
Yes.
beautiful सा वो quote था, मैंने उसको butcher कर दिया.
बहुत अच्छा quote है. हाँ.
ठीक है, मैंने उसे खराब कर दिया कि Persians की यार, if you just have one hometown, you live and die there, then like your heart is there. But then अब कुछ साल यहाँ बिताएं, कुछ साल वहाँ, कुछ महीने यहाँ पे, तो तुम्हारा दिल बढ़ जाता है. So this is something I wanted to ask you, like, what is your sense of home? Like, what is home mean to you? Is it the body that you live in? Is it the clothes that you have? Is it your phone?
To me, I think it's nothing really material. I think we were having this conversation even before we started talking on the podcast, that I was thinking of letting go of the current place that I'm renting. I've been living there for 2 years, but I don't think the aspect of leaving the home behind is the difficult aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think home is the lifestyle I live, how I spend my day-to-day life, the people who are a part of my life, the people who are the closest to me. Even my hometown, for example, my Nana Nani used to still live in Dehradun, in fact. And I used to visit them when I was a kid. So for the longest time, I associated that with home. But that also changed. It became the idea of meeting them more than the place itself. And I think for me, it's more than just the material possessions I have, but it's more to do with the people and the experiences that I've shared with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it may sound really idealistic, but I think that is how it's become, because I've never stayed in one permanent home, in one certain building that I can call my home. So it's not about the building anymore.
I see what you mean, huh? Like, especially with the Nanane example, I have a friend of mine, I don't smoke cigarettes as much, but with him, I only think of cigarettes when I meet him. He's such a smart person that I just like, हाँ, इसके साथ ये पीना होता है.
Yeah, that experience.
Exactly, you associate experiences. But then, what about, sorry, you're also traveling all the time, so यहाँ के लोग गुस्सा नहीं होता कि मतलब हमारे दोस्ती मेंटेन करने के लिए कोई है ही नहीं, हम तो यहाँ जा रहे हैं वहाँ जा रहे हैं, और तान्या उसको तो पता नहीं है, खाली चेयर है यहाँ, तान्या कभी आके बैठेगी.
नहीं यार, ऐसा नहीं है. I think now even the friends that I have in my life, they know that this is a part of my life. In fact, they're very encouraging with it. So my friends from college, I have 2 friends from college who've stuck so far. So they are very...
the rest of them have left you?
Maybe we just fell apart, basically.
Yeah,
Not every group can last for a lifetime.
It's so hard to make groups last.
I know. So yeah, from our group, I think those are the 2 people I talk to. And I think they're very... very encouraging. And I told them that, sometimes I think that I want to not do content anymore. And they're like, are you crazy? You've built this for 5 years. Why do you not want to? And I say, I just want to travel. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
So they're very encouraging with what I do. And they're very understanding if I don't even meet them for months. And I have a best friend who stays in the US. So even with her, I think we go for many, many weeks without speaking. But when we speak, we are on the same page. And she's also very understanding. And I think above all, my parents are the most understanding, because I don't see them for such long durations. And I'm traveling most of the times. But they're happy knowing that I'm in a good place. Or if I'm not, then they'll ask me, how are you doing? Mm-hmm. But they're never opposed to me traveling, because they know that this is such a good life experience to have. And I spoke to my father one time and I asked him, what do you think about me traveling all the time? And he said that, such few people are able to achieve this.
Right. You and Ibn Battuta both.
What?
You and Ibn Battuta both.
No, yeah, don't even please. Ibn Battuta is on another level. I need to get there.
क्या ऐसा होता है कि travel circles के अंदर यार Ibn Battuta जैसा बनना है? I don't know.
Unfortunately not, but हाँ, ये अच्छा example है. Next time मैं use करूँगी किसी पे. मुझे Ibn Battuta जैसे बनना है.
Yeah, so your FaceTime is your best friend then. Like you FaceTime them.
I don't even do that. My parents are so accommodating. I do that very less often, and my mom is always complaining. तुम बात नहीं करती, but
practical question, because I think what you are living is like is a dream for many. Not in the sense कि यार तान्या आप कितने lucky हो अपना privilege check करो. Not that shit. But in the sense कि at least in India, the way nuclear families or even joint families are embedded together is that most people are used to daily phone calls. Or even I would say like हफ्ते में 3 से 4 बार and checking up on people, and like that is the way you stay connected, because we're a very collectivistic culture. We're not like ये individual कुछ और कर रहा है, ये कुछ और कर रहा है. That it's not, it happens, but ऐसा नहीं है कि पूरे इंडिया में ही ऐसा हो रहा है. Majority ये हो रहा है कि लोग अक्सर बात करते रहते हैं पेरेंट्स से खासकर.
Yeah.
So when all of that happens and someone wants to do what you do, but their parents do not allow them, because ऐसा तो नहीं ना कोई यहाँ पे कोई देख रहा होगा, हर कोई content creator बनना चाहता है travel का.
Yeah.
Just like doing travel on your own, and because I think what also happens is, so if you're constantly in touch with people from your life when you're traveling, you're still not letting a new place affect you.
Yes,
affect you the way it should be, right?
Yes.
So what would you say to them?
So, see, it's difficult. Not being in touch with your family while you're traveling is difficult, and for many reasons. I think one of them is also the safety aspect of it, that you have to be in touch with them. At least give them that assurance that you're okay wherever you are, in whichever part of the country, world, whatever. So, obviously, it's difficult to stay disconnected, but I think everybody should experience it at least once, where they're disconnected from everything, their regular life. And I say this while, like, if you're on a trek, for example, where there's no signal, that is a forced sort of disconnection. But if every once in a while you're disconnected, you allow new experiences to impact you. And that's very important. Because solo traveling aside, everything aside, like we also talked about solo traveling initially, that it's all about letting that challenge really impact you, and you overcoming that challenge of being alone, making friends, finding what to do in your day, how are you spending your day. But if your thoughts are still back at home for those few couple days, you're not really letting the travel experience affect you. And I think I've realized this over a period of time, that when I'm completely... See, it's not even a great idea to be disconnected all the time, because I've had those phases also where I've been totally disconnected and been out of communication. And it affected my relationships with people, with everybody in my life. And that's not great either. And sometimes travel does that to you also. You get so immersed in your new life, this new experience that you're getting, that you forget to be in communication. So that's not right either. But at least for a few days, I think it's a good practice to just let the place
take over. Yeah. Have you been ever off the grid completely?
I think only when I'm trekking, honestly.
Okay.
Not a forced kind of the grid.
So, I mean, this किताब के अंदर बहुत सारी guides दे रखी थी, but this is like an old book, right? It was written in the 2000s. I've learned from this that you should not check a place out too much before you travel, otherwise you'll lose a novelty. Yes. But I want to know from you, because you do this so regularly, कि let's say even you figure out कि ये destination है. हाँ. कितनी बार Wiki Travel और Wiki Voyage खुलता है? कितनी बार Lonely Planet खुलता है या नहीं खुलता? Like, what are you, so realistically, how are you planning a trip?
Okay. So can I be very honest here?
Please.
I have done this a lot of times, that I've gone to a place without doing any research. So अभी मैंने 2022 में, when international travel opened up, I went to Thailand and I went this way. I did not do any research. कि मुझे कहाँ जाना है, क्या करना है. चलो ठीक है, Thailand is very...
मैं तो traveler हूँ.
नहीं ठीक है, it may sound very क्या बोलते हैं idealistic, या फिर very from a very on a pedestal kind of a thing also, कि मैंने नहीं की कोई research. But नहीं, genuinely I just wanted to, because world travel opened up after such a long time.
Right.
I just really wanted to let it impact me.
Right.
And just go to a place without knowing what you want to do or having a plan. And see, Thailand is still a very familiar destination at the end of the day. It's not something where, like a Namibia, where I need to read up at least a little bit. So I enjoy the novelty of not doing any research or planning my day also. The only time when I have to is if I'm also planning videos alongside. So that is the only amount of research I do, that what am I even going to make the video about? So at least you should know, you should be able to speak from a perspective of having that experience or knowing a little about the place, that how are you going to land there, what is the currency, what SIM card do you need to get. So all of those basic things you still need to know at the end of the day. And I can't go without doing that entirely. But I think I'm still looking forward to having that experience where I go to a completely new country, which is safe, is within human physical limits, and not doing a lot of research.
Yeah. मेरे को recently I've been thinking about, like you said, South America a lot. Like there's so many countries that pop up on. Do you know about Patagonia?
Yes, of
Patagonia,
course.
Usually people don't know about it, and I read a book on it. It's just called In Patagonia, जिसके अंदर एक बंदा वहाँ पे जाता है UK से, and he just meets all these weird kind of people because it's home to the region itself, 14,000 kilometers.
Yes.
It's home to people from all nationalities, and it's got all terrains. So there's like a huge hike that you can do that's like hundreds of kilometers just through that terrain, and I want to do that hike. But
Wow, interesting. What is the hike called?
I don't know what it's called. Do you know the Santiago hike in Spain?
No.
The pilgrimage hike?
No.
It's like a pilgrimage. But what I want to get to from there is, so this is like a fable in my head कि मैं ये करूँगा. But the resolve or courage to do it, once you figure out the semantics कि अरे यार ये करने के लिए तो जिंदगी प्लान करनी पड़ेगी पूरा. So like when you're traveling, especially to like an exotic location, how early are you planning, and like what are you basing your trip around? Not just content ki, and do you read books for it, and so how many months ahead do you plan?
So there are some locations about which I've been reading from a very long time. So for example, I would know what to expect if I'm going to Antarctica. So that is something I've been reading up for a very long time.
Opposite. Okay.
So and there are some destinations where I decide to visit on whim because my job allows me the flexibility to plan trips on whim as well, because I have some free time. I don't have any business commitments. I don't have any other commitments. And fortunately, the dates are relaxed. So recently I planned Peru that way. Mm-hmm. And I made a few mistakes. I'm going to admit that, because I'm still on my way to becoming a world traveler. And I would give myself the flexibility to make mistakes. Okay. So I don't have to know it all. It's okay. So over there, you have to... I planned it on whim because I was in the US and I got really good flight deals to visit Peru. And I was thinking...
And you can visit Peru on a US visa.
Yes, you can.
As an Indian,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So that was another thing that I did not have to get a visa. And it was the smoothest immigration I've ever experienced. I was so impressed. Can life be like this on a US visa? My goodness, this is amazing.
Another question. So you have to visit that country on the same trip, or can you just make like a
different trip as well?
Okay.
I think there are some restrictions with certain countries, like with, I think...
probably Mexico.
Not Mexico. Yeah, Mexico. You have to have visited US at least once before coming to Mexico on a US visa.
Okay, you can't just use a US visa and pehle Mexico.
Pehle Mexico, you should have visited the US at least once before on that visa.
Right.
But you can still visit Mexico if you've made at least a couple trips. So, a single trip. So, I realized that the flight deals from New York were really nice and attractive at that point of time, and I would have missed out on those deals. But for Peru, you need to do a lot of research and advanced bookings. For example, if you want to go to Machu Picchu, you need to have the tickets for going there at least 3 months in advance. If you want to do Inca Trail, which is one of the most famous hikes for Peru, you have to book that 3 months in advance. And if you don't book these hikes in advance, they book out. And if you go there and try and make the bookings, it's just a very inconvenient process. Inca Trail, you can't do last minute. And Machu Picchu, you can still do, because I did not have the advance tickets, because I planned the trip 3 weeks in advance. I landed in US and I realized, the flight tickets are very convenient. I can just book. So 3 weeks in advance, I knew a lot about Peru already, because obviously it's a very famous tourist destination. But I couldn't have booked Machu Picchu because it was sold out. On my dates, beyond my dates also, it was sold out. And they only allow a limited number of people to go up to the site.
It's a world... What is the word? World of wonder?
One of the 7 wonders in the world.
Yes, that.
So now I was in a big problem. So once I got to Cusco, that is when I started asking around that, can I still make it? Can I still make it? And a lot of people said, yeah, you can make it, but it'll cost you $400.
Acha.
Yeah, so ye problem hui. So ultimately, I did end up visiting Machu Picchu, but then I realized, how can you do it last minute? So you get to Cusco, you put your name in for some kind of a queue, then you queue up the next morning.
It's
morning
like IRCTC.
The morning of visiting the wonder, you're supposed to queue up, and then you get your... and fortunately, I got a really good slot and everything worked out, but it's just really terrible. If you don't have these advanced bookings, you cannot make a trip to Peru happen without any inconvenience.
I see. So it isn't just like कि आज चाहे कितने भी पैसे हों उठ के चले जाओ, because otherwise you're still gonna have to spend more money.
And imagine having a lot of money but still queuing up.
Yeah, that would suck.
That would suck, right? So nobody would want, no traveler would want to experience that. Unless you're staying in the country for a very long duration.
Right.
That makes sense.
What's like a very weird country that you've experienced where you've been surprised? Not Namibia, because we've talked about it a bunch, so that's out. But like, acha, theek hai, so if you can roughly, the world has around 7-8 continents. I'll be butchered for this. 7 continents, maybe, okay.
Yeah.
एक पूरा वो एशिया के अंदर बेल्ट है, you've got Malaysia, Thailand, the people not जो लोग बाहर घूमने जाते हैं पहले वो उधर जाते हैं, then you've got Abu Dhabi, Dubai, was like हम बाहर गए थे.
मैं पता है किसी भी ऐसी जगह पे ज़्यादा देर के लिए नहीं गई जहाँ पे लोग जाते हैं. I haven't been to Malaysia. Vietnam I'm going 2-3 days later, but अभी तक मैं वियतनाम अभी.
Wow, I'm so glad I got you on now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. और उसके बाद I haven't been to Singapore.
So okay, ये इसको बीच में से काटते हैं, ये पूछते हैं अब 2-3 दिन बाद वियतनाम है. So how are you preparing for Vietnam? And like अब 2-3 दिन के अंदर what are your top priorities? Is getting your visa sorted, passport sorted?
Yeah, visa, passport sorted. And उसके बाद obviously places that I've always wanted to go to. I've always wanted to go to Halong Bay, for example, and do a cruise there. Just because I like the experience of doing that. So that is something that I really want to do. And I बाकी सारी तो काफ़ी सारी ऐसी जगहें हैं ही, दनांग है, हो ची मिन है.
I'll send you on Instagram. I'll send you a great bar in Hanoi. It's one of the world's top 50 bars.
Okay.
It's got a giant dinosaur skeleton hanging from the top.
Okay.
और ऊपर से glass है. It's a glass house and you can just have a drink and it's supposed to be like an old Vietnamese bar. Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah.
I just got really excited because I haven't been to Vietnam.
So what I usually do is I look up all the things that interest me the most. I mean, that bar sounds great, but I'm not a bar person, to be honest.
Okay.
So maybe not. And plus उसके बारे में अगर मुझे वीडियो भी बनानी है, it can't even feature in my, maybe it can feature in my video, but everything that if I'm planning from the video perspective, it has to be things that interest me, because that is when I can show genuine interest in going there and excitement that I'm visiting this place, I've always wanted to be here. And that excitement needs to show on your face, and it can only show on your face if you're being real about it.
That's true.
Yeah. You can't just go to places that are recommended on a Thrilophilia or a Wiki Travel, ki go to this place and still be excited about it. Then there's nothing different between you and a website.
Got it.
So my process is that I would figure out where am I landing, how many days am I staying there, what are the things I'm interested in doing there, what's the next destination, how to get there. So ऐसे से करके I plan it.
And do you book a return? Have you booked a return?
Yes.
Okay.
So this time I had to, because I also have some future commitments, so I had to book a return.
Okay.
Otherwise I would prefer not booking a
The calendar is your best friend.
Yes.
You follow rigorously. ऐसा नहीं कि
Yes.
पता नहीं आज वियतनाम में कल कहाँ पे है. You don't do that. You don't do it like that.
No.
But you want to do it like that at some point in your life?
Yes. So I think we were also speaking about this off camera.
Right.
Off podcast. I have a habit of saying off camera because
camera पे ही है.
Camera पे है, but this is a podcast technically. But मेरी habit है because I only deal with cameras.
Hey bro, can I speak to you about this off camera?
Off the record, please. So what were we talking about?
About how कि कभी ये plan है like just to be एक undefined time के लिए trip करना.
हाँ, so this is the plan. But दो challenges है अभी मेरे लिए. One challenge is that what I'm doing is still work at the end of the day.
Right.
मतलब मैंने बोला था अपने YouTube पे कि I'm quitting my job, but I'm in another job now. And this job is, the only difference is it's a job that I've created.
But you're your own boss now.
I'm my own boss, but it still has some commitments that I have to live by. Because if I don't, then I don't know where am I paying my rent from. I don't know how am I paying my team. Mm-hmm. So I have to live by some commitments, some guidelines, and still treat it like work. And if I don't treat it like work, then I'm taking a vacation.
Right.
So if I go off the grid for a long period of time, then I'm taking a long vacation. Is that something which is permissible given my work and the nature of it? That is challenge number one. The second challenge is that most of my business still comes from India. By business, I mean I said 90% of my revenue comes from brands, and most brands are Indians.
Right.
Indian brands. And a lot of them are services. A lot of them are, say, a fintech company, which I can still do on the go. And I can integrate them, work with them, create nice videos for these brand commitments. But what about physical products? A lot of them are also FMCG products, which I will need to have on me. A lot of them are laptop, mobile companies, which are only available, say, for example, in India. So my business is still here. So that's challenge number two, that I have to switch my revenue source to making it like 20% of my revenue and something else is the major chunk of my revenue, and that is how I can go off the grid.
Wow, लोग बोलते हैं Tim Ferriss बनना आसान है.
It's not easy.
I've been trying for so many years. I'm like 20-30% there. But like you're saying, lifestyle design is such a tough thing because
It is.
well, he just says कि आप online product बना लो और हर चीज़ automate delegate batch कर लो and that should work out. But with you, like the way you've built it, you definitely need your physical presence somewhere.
Yes.
And I don't think that can happen when you're like on a farm in Missouri or
no.
कहीं पे और.
Yes, and I think what I can do is I can retire early. I can retire by my 35 or 40. That will still be called early retirement, and then just travel off the grid. So maybe I can think of doing that.
Then do a few gigs. Then do just Nat Geo stuff.
Yeah,
commission shows.
Exactly. Just commission shows.
Vibe तो वही बढ़िया रहेगी कि मतलब you know experiencing Asia with Tanya Khanijow वो वाला scene बढ़िया रहेगा.
हाँ, I know, and I really want to do that. To have an OTT show of my own, maybe.
For sure, bro.
Yes, why not think big?
Yeah, I mean, but वो भी तभी होता है as long as you keep this distribution up.
Exactly.
That's what people say.
Exactly.
That's what I've been told.
I know, and my other plan is, other thought is that the way I can still do it is create an online product which is more ongoing, which does not require as much of brand involvement.
Yeah.
So thinking along the lines of doing that, and then just staying in different countries, not having a base.
Which is going to be very weird how you're going to do that, but I'm excited how you do that because I'm also looking for inspiration on the same domain. If I move this on the road, I will have a crew जिनको बैठ के कहीं पे randomly edit करना पड़ेगा.
Exactly.
And on laptops.
Yes.
Right, and then upload like heavy files. We're 1080p. You're 4K, bro.
Yeah.
So just getting that uploaded and then but I know people do it. People still do it.
They do it.
है ना?
Yes.
It's not completely impossible, but there are constraints. But it's still good though because I think the problem that you have now is such a better problem to have than when you first started out.
Yes.
Which is like यार मैं दिखाऊं कैसे कि मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ.
And I believe I will face problems at every step of the way, even in this job. Even though this may seem like the most attractive job ever, but it has challenges of its own. And it's okay to have challenges because challenges are good. We just talked about it. So it's important to not negate these challenges and still treat them as challenges and find solutions for them. So I would ideally want to be in a situation where I'm just traveling and I don't have a base and I don't have these brand commitments, or I don't have to come back just to fulfill these commitments, because the ideal is that you're spending a long duration in a certain country, experiencing the local life, then hopping to the next, which is closer, so that you don't have to take that return flight all the way, then go return all the way.
Digital nomad.
Yeah, so just be a digital nomad, work out of anywhere remotely.
But I will say what you've arrived at intuitively, I read in Tim Ferriss's book only, The 4-Hour Workweek, he talks about dreamlining. Do you know what dreamlining?
No.
It's like, हमें लगता है, I mean, I feel like I should get to Spain. But then Spain is a word. It's like, what do I want to do in Spain? हम ये decide नहीं करते. So then you try to save an ungodly amount of money to get to Spain for an ungodly amount of time, right? But it's like, what do you want to do in Spain? Okay, I want to
do the ZNMD wali road trip.
हाँ, जब टोमाटीना करना है, जो भी कुछ करना है, Valencia जाना है, but then it's like, okay, choose the most luxurious experience that you want, the best one that you want. Like you want to ride like a bull.
Yeah.
ठीक है, एक दो ले लो. Then you do the costing, you'll be surprised per day तुम्हें इतनी income चाहिए वो करने के लिए.
Exactly.
As opposed to, oh my God, Spain.
Yeah.
Because you're assuming some kind of like, मैं best से best hotel में रहूँगा, best से best taxi लूँगा. No, you can still fulfill your dreams by just being specific about what you want.
Yes.
So ये अब तुम्हें टिप्पणी करनी पड़ेगी कि इस पे क्या है.
हाँ, and I've realized, experiences abroad are very expensive.
Yeah.
जैसे कि so the nature of my job is such that a lot of it is also collaborations.
Okay.
But not everything aligns with what you want to do at times. For example, you get an invite from a certain place. Like at least when I started out, a lot of it was invites from certain destinations, and I would pick and choose the destinations that I was genuinely interested in. But sometimes, and I think I've let go of a lot of opportunities because I just wasn't interested. Like I've got opportunities from Dubai so many times. I've still not been to Dubai.
Right.
Because I don't want to. I don't want to create content around it just yet, maybe, unless something really exciting comes up. So I do have that option of collaborating, but when you stop doing that and you travel on your own expenses, like this year I wanted to challenge myself by because okay, I've accumulated some money with all the brand deals that I've been doing. Now this year I just want to really spend my own money and do things that I want to do. It's so expensive. The first trip that I started off with, I mean, I've been spending a lot of my own money बीच में वैसे भी, जैसे कि if you're extending a trip after a sponsored trip, you spend your own money.
Right.
So it's not like I've been chindi about it. But fully, इस साल मैंने सबसे पहले March में, I think March या April में I went to Hawaii. So that was also again something that I just wanted to do because I was in the US, might as well just go to Hawaii. Those I think 14 days cost me so much because every day 15,000 rupees you're just shelling on hotel.
Right. I wish my math was fast so I could calculate it.
But that's just hotel. The food is expensive. The activities, per activity, if you're doing a helicopter ride, for example, it's $200. You're doing a boat ride, it's $250. It really adds up, all these experiences. And those were the experiences I wanted to do over there. Just say, I went to Big Island, I wanted to do the helicopter ride over the volcanoes. That helicopter ride is $200. So I was really tempted to reach out to them and say, Blue Hawaii Helicopters, would you like to collaborate? Because why not? I can create content for them.
But it does work out, right? Like most people are like interested or no?
See, now the creator economy is such that yes, everybody values content. But at the end of the day, so $200 is still not a very big amount for a reel.
Right.
How much I would... So you think, is it worth it? Is it worth putting that pressure on yourself and on a trip and creating that piece of content? Which, if it was chargeable, you might have been...
Swipe one of my 4 credit cards, we're done.
हाँ, बस points accumulate हो गए हैं. So it's like one of those things that once you reach a certain stage as a content creator, you want to think, is it worth the stress of creating content or should I just spend on it? So you have to find a balance between all of these things.
But you've been doing it successfully for so many years. You must be a great saver. Any other money tips that you have beyond the fantastic credit card tip? Like do you make budgets for trips, for example?
Yes, I do. And a lot of it, see, again, now because I'm in this job, a lot of it is saved because of the partnerships, but they also come by with great difficulty. You have to reach out to them in advance and then you have to align the deliverables and then you have to deliver those deliverables.
Right.
For example, you said, I'm going to feature you in a YouTube video. Are you doing that? When are you doing that? So you have to think of that. So a lot of saving is also partnerships. But again, if you're, for example, looking to save money, stick to one brand. For example, if you're taking flights, in the US, if you can start accumulating United points, or if you can just stick to American Airlines, one of these. So start accumulating points for these. So that way you can save money. If you're doing car rentals, you can become a member of Hertz, for example. So I signed up for their membership, and with that also you get some discounts. They give you some coupons, and also actively look for discounts everywhere. And if you're a member, they will also let go of a lot of things, जैसे कि insurance में थोड़ा सा कम हो जाएगा पैसा, all of that. So I've done a few road trips here and there. I rented out Hertz in UK and US so far. And now I'm thinking of December, I'm thinking of going to New Zealand. So now वहाँ पे भी I'm thinking कि वहाँ पे car rental में कैसे save हो सकता है. So you have to actively be involved in travel hacking if you're interested in saving money, especially if you're doing this as a business. And a lot of my travel hacking is also besides the content creation perks. And I won't even call it perks because you still have to deliver. It's a exchange of service. It's not like you're doing it for free. So whenever somebody says to me that you get to travel for free, that is so cool. It's not traveling for free because it comes at the cost of creation of content, which you have to actively plan, you have to execute, and you have to deliver. So it's an exchange of service, and sometimes you're at the losing end of it.
I see what you mean. But at the same time, one would also argue that this is like a very old style of barter. Not content wala barter, ki hum product de denge, aap baat kar do. Not that. Like in the sense, because I have some friends who live in a commune-like situation near Gurgaon. In fact, you talked about them in the Suru Valley vlog. The rock climbing festival, they organize that. So, so they have a base on Gurgaon Faridabad Road.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people come there, but they have to have duties. Koi fasal kaatega, koi kuch karega, and as a result, they get food and they get to live there. Right? And I think that's a fair trade.
That's a fair trade. And we talked about workaway also. It's similar. You go and work on somebody's garden. You paint somebody's walls.
Have you done that? Workaway yourself?
No, I haven't done that. No. I tried applying for it long back when I started, but fortunately for me, my business picked up. So
right, of course, like that's what I was saying. You're not a volunteer trying to like school ke baad TEFL karane ke liye logo ko. हाँ. Also, that I feel that a lot of people from the West, they become English teachers, and that's how they fund their travels, right? Because it pays well.
A lot of people from India also do that. I have a friend who's done that. She was in Japan teaching English.
Oh, you can do that?
You can do that.
Is the pay good?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the pay is great. It may not be at par with a lot of other jobs, especially if you're in consulting or something, you can't compare the pay. But at least you get to stay in a certain country. And if travel is your priority anyway.
Right.
And see, if you're going to be doing travel hacking, travel has to be your priority. Only then you can do it. I know a lot of people who just don't even enjoy travel. So why would they even...
Right. Why would they even watch this video? They can just watch something else.
Exactly. But I hope they're watching the video nonetheless. So it's all about your priorities. If traveling is your priority, you would want to go to some other country and just work there and experience it.
Chal, tera to ye business ho gaya. This is your like central thing. This is what you do. You can have that coffee, please.
हाँ यार, I really want to have some coffee. Please. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I think खत्म हो गई इसमें.
हो गई नहीं है थोड़ी सी.
Great. I think it's not going to be as hot now.
It's okay.
You can have the rest of it.
I just want to have some coffee while talking. That's it.
Yeah, I love coffee also.
Yeah, me too.
So I was saying कि जैसे ये तो तेरा business है. This is something you do full time.
हाँ.
ठीक है. Passion and
हाँ जो भी मतलब
mix हो गया. ठीक है.
सब mix हो गया. Passion एक साथ. काम एक साथ सब हो गया है.
लेकिन जैसे मैं हूँ या कोई और है जिसकी ये आशाएं हैं कि उसे और कल्चर्स में रहना है, शायद लॉन्ग टर्म रहना है. But I do something else for a living. I do this and other things. Now, how can someone like me, whose center is not travel, make travel a part of my regular life? Is it planning? Is it budgeting? Sometimes it's just a mindset shift कि मेरे को ये करना है. Like, because I'm sure ये तो लोग बहुत पूछते होंगे. Like तान्या मैं भी आपकी तरह पूरी जिंदगी ट्रैवल कैसे कर सकता हूँ? Like that's a legit question I want to ask you.
So I think again it comes down to your priorities. I can also not share a lot of deep experience on it because I've only done this. क्या बोलते हैं मतलब I've done this with my job alongside my corporate job for some time.
अच्छा, you didn't know the corporate job first?
Yes, so for a year and a half I was working. For the last I think 6-7 months I was traveling alongside for most part, but also for the last 6-7 months I started YouTube, and that is when I decided that I wanted to make a switch and make this my job. So in the time that I did do it, I realized two things. That first, travel has to be a priority because, say for example, you have your vacation coming up, your planned leaves coming up, or some festival coming up. अगर आपको उस time पे relax करना है, if you want to stay at home, it's okay if that's your priority. Because a lot of people think कि अच्छा नहीं हमें travel करना चाहिए because everybody else is traveling. No, if travel is your priority, then make it a part of your life and plan ahead for it. कि okay, अब ये festival आ रहा है. Look at the calendar. Think of what all leaves you can take in the year. I think everybody gets at least 12 holidays, calendar holidays, which are festivals, and along with that you get weekends, and along with that you also have your I think 20 odd leaves in a year. So if you plan it in a certain way that it's aligning with the long weekend plus the festival, you can easily travel. You can take a 7-day leave from work and go to a different country. Now isme what will play majorly is you have to plan ahead, of course, with all your leaves and how much time you can take off. And this I'm talking about corporate jobs first because that is something I can speak from experience, from experience. So for that, you have to do a lot of planning for your leaves, firstly, and second, of course, budgeting. This may be if you're using the credit card hack, it'll help you. But even if you're not, you can obviously start accumulating some part of your salary and just save it for traveling. You can put it in some kind of a liquid fund in a separate account. So when it's in a liquid fund which can be easily dissolved, jiska period zyada nahi hai. So put it in that and just let that money stay there and put money towards it every month. That say for example you want to go to Thailand only, and you know that your budget will be 1.5 lakhs if you want to spend a very comfortable trip there.
Right.
It can be done for lesser.
Like 4 or 5, 6 months from now, something like that.
4 months from now you want to be there. Or say for example December pass me hai, it's already November, but I want to spend certain so see how much savings you already have. Can you shell out? Vietnam can be done I think in like 60,000-70,000 if you're backpacking and if you're not making it a very super luxurious trip. So see how much of your money can you already expend if you've not been saving up too much. मतलब savings में कुछ ना कुछ तो रखता ही है ना हर कोई.
Right.
So see how much of it can you shell towards traveling. How many leaves do you have? Because I said December because इसमें holidays आ ही रही हैं anyway, Christmas holiday, and if you are working in consulting, for example, your entire Christmas and New Year week is going to be off because you work with other countries. So easily you can use that part of your vacation and plan ahead. एक महीना पहले भी plan करोगे, just see how much you can save, how much you can expend. And if travel is really your priority, make your bookings and do it, make it happen. And if you're working in a job like yours, which is movable, I think to a great extent it is if you know who your
India की audience है हमारी सारी. But I'm also switching. I'm just seeing what can be done. Yeah.
नहीं, India की audience है, but you can batch process also, no?
Yes.
See, now I don't know how well it will work because batch processing is also hard.
I have. When I go to Mumbai, I record 9 conversations in 5 days.
See now.
Or 4 days. But what it does, ये तो खैर बहुत ये तो solve जैसे you're trying to solve that problem with what you're trying to do. also with me, I find that ये तो एक ऐसी problem है that only the person facing it can solve it.
Yes.
No matter how much advice you take.
Yes.
Because you know too much about your own industry.
Yes. And I think there are so many jobs in the world. I can't speak for everybody.
Right.
I can't give advice to everybody, but it only boils down to one thing and one thing alone. Is travel your priority? And if you really want to do it, then you have to find ways to do it. Whether it's with figuring out what your holiday situation is or your money situation is, how smartly can you invest your money and reap benefits from it? How much of your money are you actually saving? See, agar travel aapki priority hai, but you're saying that to yourself that this is my priority, but in any given month you're spending more on shopping and you're spending more on buying things, how can you save up towards traveling? And this is very easy to judge. Aap apne bills check karo and dekho ki how much of your money are you spending where.
Right.
And where can you cut corners to spend it towards traveling? It's so basic. ये तो बहुत ही personal finance की बात आ जाती है.
Guys, never check your bills. Stay broke. I think that's the way to really proceed in life. Because when I check my bills, sometimes I am so disappointed in what I'm really spending money on. What I did is, this is a weird hack for me. मेरा Paytm में कुछ दिक्कत हो गया था, the KYC got blocked for some reason. I don't know, because I changed phones. So I just started using cash. And I actually started spending way less money as a result.
Really?
Bro, जहाँ पे भी जाते हो QR code कर दो. So आपके अगर wallet में cash है. Also, I'm inviting all robbers to rob me now because now they know that I have wallet में cash, which is like such a rare thing in 2022 in India.
Yeah.
सब लोग Paytm, GPay करते हैं. But I went old school. So now I just have like a thin wad of cash and I count it every 2-3 days कि कितना हुआ है और उस चक्कर में मेरे पैसे नहीं खर्च होते.
Wow.
Because पैसे चले गए on, I don't know, just the physical transaction, no? And then people look at you different. Like sometimes I pay freelancers with cash. They're like, what the fuck? Is this really possible? मैंने कहा और क्या? No invoice, no झंझट. But that's just me because I was spending a lot of money through Paytm. And then it's really hard for your CA to say कि तुमने एक महीने में 38 transaction कर रखी है Paytm, GPay पे.
Correct.
And some of them don't have like descriptions, just random.
But don't you have difficulty with managing your accounts? Because now you're a self-employed person.
Yeah.
So if you're doing all transactions on cash, basically you can't account for them or make any tax exemptions in case you've spent it on something where you can get an exemption.
I didn't think about that. मेरे लिए this is like some super technical stuff. So now I'm going to get like a person for invoicing and stuff because invoicing is a nightmare at this point.
Yeah.
I'm doing so much invoicing all fucking day, just sending out invoices. मैं खुद ही भूल जाता हूँ कितनी बार आता है कि आपके इस invoice का सबका number same है. It's like, oh shit. So clearly that's not my strong suit. But no, the reason so what I use cash for is expenses. Like my own expenses.
Personal expenses.
This one time I paid freelancers because I was like, यार bro, it's just easier for us to just do this and you know, हाँ कोई बात नहीं 5-10 हज़ार का टैक्स कम हो गया होगा लेकिन एक पीस था ना कि यार मेरे को ना पता दिक्कत क्या कि मेरे बैंक अकाउंट का वो नंबर कम हो जाए. आई डोंट लाइक दैट एट ऑल. आई कि वो बढ़े और जो मैं निकालूँ ना कैश वो खर्च हुए. Just हर किसी का अपना अलग टोटका होता है. मेरा
it's okay. It's okay. If this works for you, that's why it's called personal finance. Whatever works for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So what's next on the menu? You're going to Vietnam. Then what?
I am planning a trip to New Zealand for the New Year's because I think it's perfect season.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they've got summer there.
Yeah, they've got summer there. And I was considering, should I go to like a Switzerland where it's going to be really cold, daylight hours are going to be very small, or go to some place which is warm.
I think you should go to Libya or Syria.
I really want to, yes. Honestly, no, I want to go to Mozambique, honestly, because that's another really good road trip destination. And I can do a similar trip like Namibia. So for anybody who's, watching or looking out for trips, I think you should really hit Mozambique.
But about visas though, like how complicated is it to get like a visa for?
Very easy. Extremely easy. You will be surprised.
Delhi mein embassy mein jaake?
So Namibia ke liye to literally embassy mein had to go drop my documents to the actual embassy, not even VFS. Jahan pe jaise Schengen visa ke liye you have to go to VFS na. They've outsourced all their visa. But yahan pe all these, ya to e-visa hai. A lot of countries have e-visa, which you can you don't even have to deposit your passport. It's that easy. And I love these countries जहाँ पे passport deposit नहीं करना पड़ता क्योंकि एक बार फंस गया ना आप कहीं और नहीं जा सकते.
Correct.
तो you just Namibia के लिए you go to the embassy, you drop it one day and next day you get it with a stamp. That's it. You just have to submit your documents. And for a lot of other countries like Tanzania and Kenya, all of that, it's all e-visa.
Do you only select countries that have tourism on it? Like या फिर do you sometimes have to like file special reasons कि certain countries के अंदर tourism allowed नहीं करते ना?
I haven't ever been to a country like that, so I can't speak from experience.
Okay. बहुत सारी I should, so wherever I want to go, अभी मैं लुटियन से ही जाऊँगा ना, I have to go for a meeting. I'll just see whatever embassy that I like. Whatever embassy I like, I was like, I want to go to this country and then I'll come back.
There's a game, in fact, on YouTube, which I've been wanting to do for the longest time. So you take a dart and you take a map and you throw the dart and jahan pe bhi it lands, you have to go there.
Wow. You want to go to there? Okay, so there's this place called Central African Republic, CAR. Have you heard of it?
Of course.
You've heard of CAR, right? It's one of the lowest countries in terms of finance, economics, human welfare.
In fact, called, I think, the poorest country, I think.
So one guy I know went there.
I've seen that video, I think.
Which one?
Some very famous YouTuber who went there.
No, I don't. No, not a YouTuber.
Okay.
Someone I met.
Okay.
Went there, and he just said, "Ki, bro, the population is so." How do I explain this? Well, they're so used to getting killed and murdered that they don't even bat an eye. It's so bad. Human rights ke standpoint, it's so bad that the army there, they don't even have their own army. They have private militias that they borrow from Russia and Ukraine.
My goodness.
And तो कुछ रिपोर्टर्स ने जाके हेलीकॉप्टर से दिखाया, उस सारी पार्लियामेंट को बिठा लिया, सारे मिनिस्टर्स वगैरह को, कि ये देखो तुम्हारे यहाँ ये हो रहा है. They started clapping. So it's that kind of like barbaric. But I was like, the fact that he ended up there, it required a lot of like technical stuff for him. Courage, just like, and he said he had to be tough. Because another American met him. He was like half Indian, half another country. So उसने बोला, if I showed that I was feeling scared, that I would be, like killed or like whatever. So he had to be like, हाँ ये सही है, violence. So he had to pretend like that.
He was okay. He had to pretend that he was okay with all the
killings that were happening right in front of him. So I was like, bro, how do you fucking survive that when you see that? But that's what I was like, that's something that you have, तो उसके लिए special permission लेनी पड़ती है वहाँ तक जाने के लिए ना.
Okay.
So I was like, have you been to an experience, like a country where you have to take special permission? No.
I think I'm not there yet.
ठीक है, I mean, you don't have to be.
I don't have to be
just because कि सब लोग कर रहे हैं कि.
नहीं वही ना, कुछ भी चीज़ pressure में नहीं करनी चाहिए ना, आपको जो चीज़ करनी है वही करनी चाहिए. I know I said I like challenges, but
ये थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही है.
ऐसे जान पे जोखिम लेके किसी country नहीं जाना मुझे अभी फिलहाल तो.
So have you been to Turkey?
No.
Turkey is what other countries are on your list right now?
So I want to go to Philippines. I want to go to Mozambique, Uganda. I want to see the silverback gorillas there.
Okay.
Something which I find really exciting. Iceland, Norway, Sweden. बहुत लंबी लिस्ट है यार, क्या क्या बोलूँ मैं अभी.
South America में
I want to go to Bolivia. So Bolivia के लिए भी this is the right season. So I was contemplating between New Zealand या फिर Bolivia because Bolivia के लिए this is also again summer there. And वहाँ का जो सारा the uni, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm really bad at pronouncing names. But वहाँ का जो salt flat है, जो कच्छ जैसा ही है, but much bigger, it becomes a mirror. So this is the season for it.
Bro, I think you should go to Bolivia. You've already been to Australia. Plus from there, if you already have a US visa, right?
Yeah.
Tourist wala.
Yeah. So no, but Bolivia is not allowed on US visa. You have to get a separate visa for it.
Oh, okay. But then, see, New Zealand to New Zealand. From there, if you want to spend your own money again, you can go to all these different neighboring countries. It's very enticing. Argentina,
it is enticing.
Argentina pass mein hai? Is it?
Argentina pass mein to nahi hai because you have to take a flight, but it's a short flight. It's not a very big flight.
It's called the Paris of the South.
Yeah.
It's also very beautiful. I was at some point in my life, I was like, should I move to Spain or Argentina?
You've been to Argentina?
No, but I have this Spanish book now because I keep thinking about.
Oh, you're learning Spanish.
Slowly, gradually.
Okay.
My eventual plan is that I want to see if I can live like a half and half life in one of the Spanish countries. But it's fun Spanish porque. So, one more thing before I let you go. How do you learn the language? Do you learn popular phrases through a book, through locals? Like, what do you do?
Mostly through locals.
Okay.
So it's very interesting when you pick up a language when you're actually there. In fact, I read this book by Shivya Nath. She's also another very well-known travel face of India because she's been to so many countries solo. So when I started off, I was really keen on seeing what she does. So I read her book, which is called The Shining Star, and she mentioned how she learned Spanish in Guatemala, where a lot of people go to learn specifically. And I'm the kind of person who actually enjoys being at a place and learning something. Just I mentioned that I don't even like planning my itineraries unless it's for the video. So my ideal kind of learning experience would be, and I did that in Peru. I was learning a lot of Spanish over there just by talking to people because it's very difficult to make conversation otherwise. And it detaches you from the local experience if you don't know the language.
Right.
So it was really fun just trying to speak to people over there and making conversation.
That's crazy. Hola, mi Tanya. Is that what you said?
Vinamre is Tanya.
Crazy. मैं सोच रहा था कि like an immersion would probably be better.
It's better. It's way better than learning from a book. See, books are also very important because you get started with them. But if you want to learn the exact tonality of it and pick up the language, the way it's spoken, and Spanish is spoken in so many different ways. All these countries,
30 countries in the world speak Spanish.
Yeah,
Each
and
of them
all
have a different
accent.
Yeah.
So when I was in Peru, I was doing a walking tour with a local in Lima, and the person literally spoke Spanish in almost 14 to 15 different accents from different countries. And I was blown. How do you know so many accents? And there are so many different nuances which are associated with just this one language. So just how big the world is and how many possibilities exist, that really blows my mind. But I think it's fun if you learn Spanish on the go. So you should really visit. Sorry.
No, that's okay. मैं तो सांस इसलिए भर रहा था कि इस पे एक मोटी टिप्पणी करूँगा पर
कर लो, it's okay.
नहीं यार, I just wanted to say कि I think what you do is super cool. And like what is most surprising to me is हम यहाँ बैठ रहे हैं. If I reach out a few days later, you'd be gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the fact that your body, your face, your feet have been on so many different earths, so many different... This is how I contextualize life, right? Ki never again will these set of feet be in the same room again. Not us, right? But ऐसे कोई तुम किसी से मिलते हो कभी. Never again will you meet the same person in Lima that you met for like 3 seconds.
Yes.
So the idea of being there and being present in the moment becomes doubly valuable.
Yeah.
Right? And the fact that you do this as a job, like as going across the world, is fucking crazy. And that you've done it successfully is amazing. And I had a lot of fun speaking to you.
Same
and thank you
here.
for being so honest.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I think before I leave, I'll say one thing. So I did not say this in our conversation, but when you mentioned the same set of 2 feet will not be in the same room.
Right.
And I think the same set of minds will not be in the same room. You know why? Because when you travel, like say for example, you now a month from now will be in some other country, I'll be in some other country, and when we come back, even if we are in the same room,
right,
our experiences, especially when you're traveling, I think you grow at a faster rate than if you're in one place. Not in a bookish kind of a way, but just with your experiences, you grow at a different rate from somebody who's been in the same place. So I think our minds would have evolved and changed in a certain way from our experiences and from the conversations we've had with other people. So the same set of minds will not be in the same room.
Let me grow a little older, then I'll reach out again.
Yeah, sure.
See what that does. not by years, but by experiences, if you know what I mean. Okay. So people can follow you on Tanya Khanijow on Instagram, Tanya Khanijow on YouTube.
YouTube, yes.
And you have a vlog channel called Living with Tanya.
Yes.
And then Twitter is Tanya Khanijow. And then Facebook, if you're still watching, is Tanya Khanijow. Travels. Okay, that's where the change happens. Okay, fun having you on Dostcast. We'll see you all next Tuesday or Friday. Don't forget to subscribe to her channel and mine. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.